Now, let's take a look at dates. The default deadline date in your Smart Checklist will always be 2 business days after checklist import date. Let's unpack that a little bit. The checklist import date is the moment we take this checklist and apply it to a transaction. So if I go and create 123 Main Street and import this checklist today, then regardless of when my purchase offer was accepted or my listing agreement was effective, regardless of any of those dates, 2 business days later is 2 days from now. Or you can also make your deadlines based on any other task or event in the system. So here you can see all of our tasks organized by goal. Whichever date that this task gets completed is when this task would be activated, and its deadline date would be, in this case, 2 business days after that. Now, everything underlined is a toggle. So we can say business days or calendar days, before or after. And if we choose business days, then we can also say, well, what happens if it's a weekend or a holiday? Some things I always do within 2 business days, but I don't do on weekends, right? That might be a contingency removal here in California. Contingencies don't expire on weekends. So we could say, if this falls on a weekend, then push it to the next business day. Or I could change that to say the prior business day if I want it done the Friday before. I know in many markets, contingencies do expire on the weekend. So if you have a remove financing or loan contingency, for example, then it might be some number of business days after something. And then you could say, but if it falls on a weekend, make it prior to, so that I can reach out to the loan officer on the Friday and not scramble for a contingency removal on a Sunday. Great. Now in this list, you'll see all the other tasks in this checklist, as well as any other milestones. And now these milestones are available dynamically based on the stage and role of this checklist. So you may recall we said this checklist applies when I'm on the seller's team in prep mode. Therefore, the only 3 events available to me are the milestones of the listing agreement effective date, expiration date, and then of course the MLS go live date. Now, if I add some other date, a coming soon target date, for example. So if I capture another date as some additional info that I want anywhere in the checklist, then I can save my progress, which will refresh my list and allow me to then choose that variable's date as the deadline for my task. It sounds a little complex, but I assure you it's quite easy. And I'll show you how this manifested itself in this checklist. We said in the home prep that we were going to schedule photography and also ask the photographer when should we expect the photos. Then we used that date to determine when we should be ordering our flyers. So ordering flyers was due 0 calendar days after the photo receipt date. So we have 3 different ways that we can assign deadline dates to tasks in your Smart Checklist. The default option is the checklist import date, or whenever the checklist gets added to a transaction. The next option is to base it off of the completion of another task in the checklist. The third option is to set the deadline date dynamically based on another date in the system, either a milestone or another event, or a variable that you've added somewhere else in the checklist.